Greetings, greetings, greetings. We are back again. Another segment of Run Tell That. Run Tell That. Run Tell the information. Give the information. Give the insight. Share it. Glad to be here on the ATR Network, all things relevant media platforms, and also ATR Black Media on YouTube. Glad to be here again. Brother Jamal in the house, but also glad to have my brother Christopher Johnson, better known as Coach Chris. Coach Chris is in the house, Coach Chris Johnson, and again,
yes,
part of the Oconee, Mentoring Association. So I got that messed up. We call it OCMA, see, because normally I don't go and say the full name. We just going to say OCMA. The Dream Team. It's the Dream Team. The Dream Team is in the house. Some of y'all know about the Dream Team. Some of y'all don't know about the Dream Team. Now, those who've been to Gitchakunda, you have seen the Dream Team. You have seen them. You have heard them. If you've been in Brunswick, Georgia, you've heard and seen the Dream Team. Fantastic young people. It's a mentoring association that's right there in the heart of Georgia, middle Georgia, in Lawrence County, Georgia, Dublin, Georgia. But guess what? They got tentacles all over the place. And we're glad to have you here, Brother Chris Johnson. Again, Chris, brother, it's an honor to have you here. But you're not in middle Georgia right now. You out in the Rocky Mountains right now.
I am. I'm out here visiting my sister in Colorado. My daughter. I recently had a death in the family, so I'm out here, in support of my family, due to this tragic loss, but also enjoying my family. It's a wonderful place. Colorado. The 2 days I've been here so far, the sights have been magnificent.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you get to see some magnificent sights anyway. But we're going to start out, Coach. We're going to ask you, who is Coach Chris? Who is Coach Chris? Who are you?
I'm the guy that has so many kids, you don't know what to do. I've been mentoring probably over 30 years and started with, living in the city, being a misguided youth myself, got involved with 100 Black men. They brought me out of a dark space when I was young. I continued to give. And when I got married, my wife really straightened me out, had children, moved back to Dublin. President Obama was running for office. He challenged us and say, if you want to do something, volunteer. I started Oconee Mentoring Association in 2009. Originally, it was Oconee Christian Men Association that was started by your good friend here in Dublin from the Gullah Geechee, the Reverend Dr. Ricky Porter. You remember him?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right. Right on Washington Street. I was right on Washington Street.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
he's the one that reached out to me. We started the Oconee Christian Men Association. We started working with these kids that I was working with, the church community. And so we branched out from there, became Oconee Community Mentoring Association. We added girls. We started doing other things in the community. We just kept expanding. We adopted a lot of different concepts of outreach. Community collaboration has been one that we've benefited from greatly. Going out to other communities, sharing what we're doing, exploring what they're doing, and just, sharing and caring, outside of our own boundaries.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for those of you, Pastor Ricky Porter was the pastor of the church, the Presbyterian Church there in Lawrence County in Dublin, Georgia, and they're right on Washington Street. And we had the pleasure to be able to go there and talk and share, deliver a message. And that, again, that made us connect. And that one of the things that he's proud of, the fact that he's Gullah Geechee out of the Charleston County side, South Carolina, and then to have me come there, then bridging that connection, because again, we're going to explore some other things that, again, that OCMA has a connection to right in this area. And we're going to explore more about that. But then I want to ask, what is the Oconee Community Mentoring Association? What is OCMA?
OCMA is our youth outreach. Our thing is to try to connect the dots. We want to be wherever our kids are, to give them support in anything that they set out to do. To support our children, to help them to succeed, to help them to elevate them. It's an old school concept, Jamel. When I was raised, my uncles and cousins spent a lot of time with me. The adults did. They played baseball with us, let us ride the jackass. We did a lot of things together. Slaughtering that hog once a year. We spent a lot of time together. And I think nowadays we have issues with our youth, but what we are not doing, our generation, is spending the amount of quality time with our youth. And so that's what we are doing in our outreach. And the amount of time you have to be creative in what you are doing. I've coached football. I've done performing arts where we would do these performances in local theaters. But it was just a matter of spending time with the kids and practicing, rehearsing, being creative with the different contexts of information that we would share with them. Every time you spend time with kids, there's always a teachable moment. And so performing arts, there's a teachable moments. We talk about Motown and Barry Gordy and how he mentored all of those great artists during that period of time, right? Then, of course, you have the music, and there's a lot of fun associated with them. We played pretend, and they got to dress up, and they got to perform. But of course, we were dropping seed at the same time, talking about that great experience with that great institution of music that we all love and admire. Then football, working as a team. I've developed some great athletes from that football program. In fact, in 2019, right, 6 of my alumni that I coach were part of the state championship here in Dublin. 6 of those boys I coached on that championship team. And so then, of course, the bicycling, mentoring is about, using life experience as teachable moments. The bicycling, the touring, all of that was very instrumental. The bicycles was the attraction to get the kids' attention, get them to be fully engaged. And of course, while we're on the bikes, it presented coachable, teachable moments. And so we did that. We traveled, and in our travels, there was a lot to share with the kids, in particularly history. I know when you spoke about coming down to Washington Street, Jamel, it's something that you said to me in that church sermon about the African doing the before Mafa, and how they would go up to the forts and to find work, how much sacrifice they made. You talked about empowerment. And so that's what we've been doing ever since, empowering our youth, knowledge, education. You are more than what they say you are. And we prove it. There's evidence of all the, there's evidence in the history, hidden, buried, and distorted.
Yes, sir, brother. Absolutely. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And for those of you who are not aware, there's a lot of things happening, and that there's a history there in Dublin, Georgia, that is significant. The history that's in Middle Georgia in Lawrence County, that is significant. And say to those of you who attend a place called, or gone to a place, or are alums of a place called Savannah State College or Savannah State University, some of the great leadership of Savannah State and some of the great alums were out of Lawrence County, Georgia, out of Dublin, Georgia. Awesome. But then not only that, that some of them attended not just the college element, they also went to the normal school, which was basically known as the high school there at Savannah State, that will later on go on to places we know as Claflin University in Orangeburg, South Carolina. So they have a tie right here in this area, and that some of them became significant people in Lawrence County. They became some of the first medical doctors of African descent there in Lawrence County. And they had an impact with regards to fighting for, standing up for, and empowering the people there in Lawrence County. So that's why some may not realize that no matter where you go, you should try to find the relationship of that place to where you're from. Right. And when you do that, you see how small the world really is. And then also begin to understand the impact that that location or people from that location have had on the lives of people where you're from. And you realize then you must also be about planting the seeds also, or, excuse me, casting the seeds out there. So we want to say to the run, tell that audience, share this. Again, share. And so when we talk about history, Coach Chris, I want to know, and this is for my listening audience, because which I have an understanding, but I want you to share what is the connection between Dr. King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Dublin, Georgia. What's the connection?
It is an awesome story of a 14-year-old young man that had a teacher, a mentor, that saw something special in him, brought him to Dublin, Georgia Moose Club oratorical competition in April 17th, 1944. And he participated in this oratorical competition. The name of his speech was "The Negro and the Constitution," and he won that competition. And if you ever read the content of that speech, "The Negro and the Constitution," from this 14-year-old, that is how he lived out his life, and his life, work, exactly what he expressed, the Constitution and the promise that it made, and how, we as African Americans are entitled to that promise and that dream. As a 14-year-old, he saw that. And he lived out his life, showing, America, showing the world that we were entitled to, justice, liberty, of equality as Americans in this country. So, that was the place of his first public speaking. Before his first sermon, his first public speech was done in Dublin, Georgia.
And the person again is, Michael King, but now later known as Reverend Martin Luther King. That again, the first time that he does his first public speaking is in Dublin, Georgia.
Yes.
And will win the oratorical contest there in Dublin, Georgia. Mm-hmm. Not many people know that history and that legacy right there. So showing you again that the foundation, the seeds are cast throughout. And as you threw up, that he was mentored with regards to this. He was inspired to go do this. And so it is an association, a gathering of Black men that said, listen, we must put forth the best of us. And that's what they did. That's why they had the oratorical contest with regard to wanting to showcase the best of us, letting people understand, who are these people that you now call Africans, these people that you call Black? Who are these people? And what are their skill sets? And he delivered in Dublin, Georgia. And that's a part of the catapult. That's a part of his foundation.
I have this wonderful story I like to tell of one of the first participants, because when I discovered this history about Martin Luther King, we were riding bikes and we rode by First African Baptist Church and we saw the plaque on the wall. And since then, I would ride new kids to the club by this church and they would have to read that plaque. And I would give them the talk on the steps. You can be whatever you want to be. Just apply yourself, right? Most people are ordinary or, ordinary people, but we are going to prepare ourselves to be exceptional, right? Yeah. Like this young man. So just apply yourself to be exceptional. So after that, we discovered Juneteenth. I started the Juneteenth celebration here in Dublin, Georgia, 10 years ago. 2011, I celebrated the first Juneteenth celebration in Dublin. And a lot of people had to become familiar with the significance of the holiday. And so since then, it has taken off. I've more or less turned it over to a group of young people. They're having their second annual, hosting of that holiday, but it is taking fire, Jamel, in Lawrence County, Juneteenth. And, if we continue to do so, the inspiration, the knowledge, the education, the reconnection to our heritage is initiated by the celebration of this holiday. But my original point was, I had a young man. Well, Juneteenth was the spark of the reinitiation of the Martin Luther King oratorical contest. So in 2012, the first oratorical contest that we had at First AB Church had kids to participate. Tay Ayuk. I know you know that name.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go ahead. I'm gonna throw some stuff up about, but yes, okay, go ahead, yes, sir.
So Tay Ayuk came and he did that first year. He made an awesome speech, which is historic in its own. He did a speech that we call, that I still talk about with my kids, he did a speech, and it was more or less about himself, doing all the right things, having all the right grades, and still you're challenged in life. But he spoke to how his faith in God will, help him to get through things, and that, you just have to stay at the river until your blessings come. And Tay went on to get a scholarship at Savannah State University. And from there, he's living the dream, a magnificent young man that has given back to this community, before he's even fully developed as a professional. And it goes along with what I try to, and what he inspired me to teach my other kids, which is to develop your gifts to the extent where you can provide or help out, others in your community. Develop your gifts so that you can help out others in your community. So that's been, the affiliation of Dr. Martin Luther King to Dublin, Georgia, the oratorical contest, and how it has inspired youth. And I've had other youth also to benefit, but by far, Tay Ayuk has been our native son that we are very, very, very proud of.
And I'll share this with you all that I did not know that Tay Ayuk was the first one until I was there in Dublin at the church, and then that's when they told me, and I'm like, Tay, my Tay. And so yes, as you all heard, Tay is an alum of Savannah State University, and right now he may actually be now Dr. Tay Ayuk, because he went on to Johns Hopkins. So here goes somebody from Dublin, Georgia to Savannah, Georgia, Johns Hopkins, now becoming a doctor. Powerful story. And so when I'm there now, I'm like looking like Tay, because when Tay came to Savannah State, I would see him on the campus, and Tay got ties on, got on all the gear, got the suits, got the jacket, all that. And I just say, man, I'm mad with you. I'm jealous of you, because here's this young brother that is just dressed to the nines. Not being like everybody else, but dressed to the nines, carrying himself. And then I had the benefit of also not having Tay in my classes, and I'm not looking. And so then again, as I said, understand about making connections to other places that you go to. And so now come to find out, I'm like, Coach Chris is telling me about Tay. I'm like, what? So now I'm understanding why he had that foundation when he came to Savannah State, unlike other people. Because sometimes some of our people, when they go into new environments, they're like a leaf in the wind. They get blown wherever. But instead, some of them are also rooted like trees. They're trees that are rooted in the soil. And I can see from when Coach Chris told me that when I'm there at church, I'm like saying, Tay is the first one. I'm like, that explains it. Yes. That's why he is a tree that is rooted. And as I shared, right now, to our listening audience will run tell that he is now going on to Johns Hopkins, and somebody who walked on the same soil that we all walked on in the state of Georgia and beyond.
Yes, sir.
So that's why I want to move on to this, Coach Chris, because I've been impressed, highly impressed for a long time about what's been happening in Dublin, Georgia. So I'm trying to figure out what's happening in Dublin, Georgia. Why is Dublin, Georgia so progressive? Can you elaborate and share some of the things that you have done? Because I want the audience to understand and know that, yes, when you go through Dublin, it's not just about a stop on I-16. Understand you're going into a place that is significant, that we all can have, and we all can function the same way in our locales.
Well, you know, Dublin is in a key point as far as trade is concerned. You know, on I-16, on the way to Savannah, to the trading ports, from, you know, Atlanta and other. So we are a primary hub that connects, you know, the trading, you know, through Georgia. And so we're just a sweet spot, you know, in the heart of Georgia. And so for that, you know, city government has been very, you know, adamant about attracting businesses and, you know, all the businesses that support, you know, trade coming in and out and through Georgia. And so that's more or less been it. You know, we just in a very, you know, key spot for trading. But, you know, locally, you know, football is our thing here in Lawrence County. We love our football. You know, we just a very, you know, I think forward-thinking community. You know, we have our problems, but it's things that it's things that we can sit down and talk about, and you know, in a cordial, civil manner, and try to, you know, see each other's, you know, perspective and try to work things through.
It's something that you shared with me. Again, this is going back years ago, and this is why I began to, again, my antenna was going up about Dublin and about Lawrence County and about the things that are happening there. Because when you discuss, and you threw it out there early, you discussed about Juneteenth, and that again, that there was a process that you went through that it then now caused people in Lawrence County in Dublin, Georgia, to embrace Juneteenth. And I just, you know, want you to talk about that, because I found that when you said forward thinking, and now again, letting everyone understand that this is over a decade ago that this process had began. And that's why I started saying, yeah, they're doing things there.
Well, initially, when I first introduced Juneteenth, you know, everyone was very curious. Like, what is that? You know, and they pushed back just a little bit. They didn't really want to call it Juneteenth, you know, some of the elders, but and so we went along with it, but still teaching, you know, the significance of the holiday, freedom, and you know, and African Americans being able to work towards becoming more than second-class citizens in this country. We had a lot to gain from. Every year we do a bike ride here in Dublin. This would be the 12th annual. The 10th annual Jubilee Ride. And the Jubilee Ride is, if you can imagine, 2.5 years after the Civil War had ended in Galveston, Texas, when General Granger told those slaves that they were free, you know, they celebrated. They were happy, mad, sad, and glad. And soon after, they started looking for their relatives. So they went walking and put in newspaper articles trying to find their family. So we ride our bicycles, and we've done rides as far as, you know, we've done metric, you know, centuries, you know, over 60-something miles, and in Dublin every year on Juneteenth to celebrate them walking. So certainly, you know, we ride that bike, and we do it in honor of reconnection of families. And that's what that bike ride is about. It's about reconnecting with your family, and you will go through any, lengths of a trip, walking, however, of course, we ride in bicycles to reconnect the family. So that's what that ride is all about. But it took some, year after year of keep educating our local officials to getting their support, getting sponsors in the community, educating them about the significance of the holiday. And we extended it the holiday from Juneteenth to the 4th of July. And we called it the Days of Independence, celebrating the whole concept and idea of freedom, the Americas, getting independence from Great Britain. And of course, our independence as a people in servitude, that whole concept of freedom, we celebrate from Juneteenth to the 4th of July. It's something that everyone can agree with, the concept of freedom and liberty. And so we've done that. And over the years, it's gained momentum. And so a couple of years ago, some young people were interested in doing something to express themselves, in protest to a Confederacy presence in the community. And they wanted to say something to counter this ideology that was not complementary to Americans, citizens in our community. So they wanted to voice themselves. And so I suggested that you know what? There's Juneteenth. Express yourself. That is the time to do it. And so they have taken on that challenge. This is their second year of expressing themselves, and they've done a great job. This year, they're having the first parade of Juneteenth in Dublin. And they have a huge network of people that's going to show out on Saturday, in Juneteenth at Southern Pines Park in Lawrence County. It's going to be bigger than it ever was, with a parade. It's going to be epic in Dublin. It's a marvelous thing.
And show the continual growth, and that you've got some support from the city of Dublin, also acknowledging, and respecting the work that you've been doing. And so that's why I throw that out there. I want folks to understand that Coach Chris has been out there in the trenches. He's been there in the circles. He's been in the rooms, and that he never shied away from his culture, from his pride, from who he is as a person, which then caused other people to now acknowledge and say, wait a minute, we got to respect that, because again, we see how he functions. So that's why I dare say, Coach Chris, that's why I think things began getting so progressive there, because they saw that you were a stalwart with regards to what was happening, and you remained tried and true with regards to the legacy of our ancestors, again, carrying it on and standing firm, again, standing upon the shoulders of all those who made it possible for us. And so that's why I have to give you kudos, brother. I want to do that publicly and say that is based on you carrying on that legacy. And then now, as what you have now thrown out, and that's why I want our people to share this right here, share, that now you have the young people who are also doing this, and they are now taking it to another level. That's why I said, you give them the jewels of who they are, they'll then take it to another level. They will build upon that. They will increase the value with regards to that. And so that's powerful.
We got a real blessing, Jamel. And like I say, I have to give, honorable mentions to you, sir, and your cousin, Dr. Jackson at Willow Hill Heritage, that y'all have inspired me the importance of knowing our story. And we call it whole story. I started teaching Black history to my kids. And we have this, Thursdays, bet you didn't know, Coach. And they're sharing things that they have to do research, right? And it has to be something unique and profound, some hidden nuggets in our history, in our culture, right? That's normal, that's not taught, or there's no propaganda centered around, that they'll come to me and share. And of course, it is so liberating for young people to see these young people, that whose first impression of themselves, when you get a group of middle schoolers together and you ask them, who are your people? What is your heritage? What is your culture? They were only associated back to slavery.
Yes.
And I said, dude, there is a whole, that's not even the tip of the iceberg of our existence in the world history. So you and your cousin turned me on to looking beyond. So we go all the way back to those early dynasties in Africa, right? And the contributions that was made in the world, and how a lot of that information may have been covered up to portray something that others would benefit from. But, we live in the information age now. I teach my kids to question everything. Don't even listen to me. Right? Question everything. Go back and find out, what the facts are. And so last year, preparing for, we will come down to the Kichigunda and do a presentation with you at the Kichigunda. Last year, we researched the Pledge of Allegiance. We did research on the Pledge of Allegiance and Francis Bellamy and why he wrote it. And so we are American patriots. We discovered it wasn't exactly written with Africans or women, included. They were intentionally excluded. That's why he left out the word equality. And it ends out with justice and liberty for all. And then we look at our particular situation in America and says, well, if you're going to pledge allegiance to something, do you really believe it? Will you do it with justice and liberty for all? And we wasn't feeling it. And so after doing the research on all the times that the Pledge of Allegiance was revised and why it was revised, we decided, you know what, we're American patriots. We want to make this pledge, and we did this poem by Langston Hughes, Let America Be America Again, where he talked about all of the different people and denominations and races of people that contribute to this great nation. We are entitled to be proud of this nation. So we changed the last word, and we says, rather than say with liberty and justice to all, we say giving honor to the resilience and the faith of our ancestors. That is why we are here. Our ancestors and all the sacrifice they made. We have to acknowledge that. So we pledge allegiance, according to Langston Hughes, to a country that should be, but have not been yet. But yet it shall be a great America, starting with me.
Powerful. Yes, indeed. Powerful.
So we did that. We did that in Alabama on holy ground, Selma to Montgomery March in the museum on Highway 80. Gentleman saw it from Chicago. He recorded it. He was impressed by the kids' expression. And so they created a ride that we are participating in on July 23rd to the 22nd, the Harriet Tubman Freedom Ride. We're going to go there and do another oral presentation, continuing on that premise of being patriotic in this country as African Americans.
And we're going to deal more with that. We're going to delve more into that. We're going to be discussing more about that. Yes, indeed. Always powerful with regards to OCMA, with regard to the young people, the dream team, because that way we know them as the dream team. We know them as the dream team. That's what's going on. Those young people are the dream team. And yes, to my cousin, Vanessa Taylor, yes, Dr. Alvin Jackson. Coach, you ain't had to talk about Alvin because he already figured it anyway. You ain't had to bring him up. I'm just letting you know. Yeah, he my cousin, but I'm just saying he bigoted. Alvin always been like that. Yeah, and right at Willow Hill, and that's in the story of Willow Hill, we're going to have them on also. The Willow Hill story is a powerful story also, in the sense that this is what, here go family members not coming together, now saying that we want to share our history and our story, and we're going to acquire this building. And so that was done. And that's the other side of my family that we're going to do that. I tell folks, I've been fortunate and been blessed to be involved with people and to also have family, and the family through the journey of life and through blood with regards to now doing great things. And they're all doing great things. That's why we bring you on and have you on Run Tell That. And so, Coach, you had shared some things earlier about just to deal a little bit more with regards to this. Why mentor? Why mentor? What's the importance of mentoring? Why is that important to mentor?
So that my daughters can have some really great husbands.
Damn.
And so, in order for us, when I talk to my kids about community, and I go back to the ancestral community and what it required for that community to thrive. The brick makers had to teach the young people how to make bricks, and the hunters would teach the kids how to hunt, and the bead makers had to teach them how to make beads in order for the community to thrive. And so I'm teaching my young people how to be good citizens and not to get caught up in the things in their environment, not to get caught up in pop culture and the things that social media would suggest, not to get caught up in, the miseducation, of our young people, based on what they say. You have to apply yourself. You have to inquire. You and I are doing it, but more components in our community should teach our young people about who they are. And I've seen a tremendous self-esteem growth, out of the young people that I've been dealing with. It's just vapors and compared to the overall need in our society. And I say in our society, where we eventually will develop an educational infrastructure in our societies to encourage our young people. Yeah, that's my prayer.
Okay. Yes. So, and with regards to your prayer and teaching young people, so why y'all ride bikes? Why y'all riding bikes all around the country? Why y'all doing that?
Because you know what? If I told the kids, I want y'all to sit down and listen to me talk, they will run. They will run to the hills. And even now, the kids are saying, "Coach, you're talking too much." So the bicycle, or any of the activities that I choose in this mentoring model to interact with kids, it has to be something to catch them.
Yes.
We've done sewing, and we've done performing arts, we've done football, we've had drill teams, where we were marching, and we've won fishing. The bicycles is a vehicle to attract the kids, and we go on these great tours. They meet great people. I have a young man, this is going to be his 4th time riding with the great Nelson Vale. He's ridden with him 4 times. They know each other,
Yes.
And he's going to St. Augustine University. It opens doors for people, just like it did for a Yook. The bicycle is opening doors for young people. I have a young man that rode with me since he was in the 5th grade. I coached him in football, but now he's on the police force, on their cycling squad, right? Promoted, and now is in charge of our local neighborhood watch. But this is a young man that come up as an OCMA, alumni, giving back like I have. He's learned, this whole thing about social responsibility. Now in charge, he's a shot caller, right?
Yeah.
And that's the benefits of mentoring, when you can develop and prepare these young people, like we say, develop their gifts to where they could help others in the community.
Yes, indeed. So now I want to jump into this. Who are these OCMA, the Oconee Community Mentoring Association's dream team? Who are these stars of OCMA? Who are these young people? Now some of them becoming young adults. Who are these people?
They are young leaders. And you know what? These kids are, I have to say, exceptional, because after the 2nd year with me, everyone goes to honor roll, because we emphasize education, being accountable, and we spend a lot of time with them. We monitor everything, in school, and, we're like the surrogate parents to these kids. And you work with them, you help them, you encourage them, you counsel them, and then they grow up to be these great individuals. 98% of these kids have gone on to do great things. Like Larry McGirt, the police officer, and Teo Yook, and I have Antonio Benjamin. You've met Antonio. These kids, are in college, some are in the military. Some are married with children, right? In a very responsible way. And so they have enhanced, opportunities to be productive citizens in the community because of our intervention and support.
Great. And so what are some of the other accomplishments of the OCMA Dream Team of the Stars? What are some of the accomplishments that has been achieved by you and the organization?
We started Juneteenth celebration in Dublin. The 21st Century program was introduced to the school system about 13 years ago. We have encouraged them to change the disciplinary system in their school system, going from punitive to PBIS, which is positive behavior intervention, services. We were instrumental in doing that. We've seen other, youth-oriented programs to be developed and catering to kids. And so we have great, recognition in the community. And a lot of our, when my kids apply for jobs and they put OCMA down there, it makes them an attractive, employee, we've for a small table kitchen, for a small kitchen table organization, I say that we've made significant, impact on our city. Yes. And other communities. I mean, part of our community collaborations, we went to Willow Hill, established a relationship. We have an ongoing relationship with the Gullah Geechee corridor and traveling over there. We will actually encourage anyone, if you're within my voice, if you have not been to the Gullah Geechee corridor, to any of those sites along that area, to connect you with your heritage, you need to visit the Gullah Geechee corridor and learn something about yourself. We do at least 2 or 3 times a year. We go there, and I encourage others to also visit. You don't know what you're missing. We also, in our community collaborations, we started other cycling programs in Brunswick. Macon is doing tremendous. I mean, by far, all of a sudden, they're the largest youth group. We're going to be traveling with them in New York next month, and also in Millersville. So, our, community collaboration, part of our program has connected us to other communities that have empowered and sparked leadership in those communities to do great things with their young folks. And I like using this phrase based on the gentleman that saw our performance in Alabama. We were the catalyst, for youth intervention in some other communities, and I'm very proud of that.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's why I've always been impressed with regards to OCMA, and so with regards to the work that they're doing. So I need to ask, what is your connection to this area? You threw some things out there. So what is your connection to this area right here?
I'm talking
about OCMA. What is OCMA's connection? The Dream Team. What is y'all connection to this area?
When we did the Gullah Geechee corridor, and it was in response to the tragic murder of those church members in Carolina. We were there a week later, and our kids they were there. They were able to sign the memorials of those 9 people that lost their lives. And they rode from Durham, North Carolina, down the Gullah Geechee corridor to St. Augustine, Florida. It was over 770 miles. And along the corridor, the kids met a lot of people, learned a lot of history. I think I took some other kids and we hooked up with all of them as they were riding in Mitchellville, which was a magnificent, historical site that we're still talking about. And so the kids met, they've been to a lot of different historical sites along the Gullah Geechee corridor, and they talked about it, and the Geechee. So I said, I tell you what, guys, we're going to go back. And so I Googled it, discovered the Geechee, and so we came and visited, And since, being there and meeting you and, all of the wonderful people down there and the information that was shared, we just kept coming. We go to the King Festival, we go to the gathering, and then we do a ride of our own down there. So usually about 3 times a year, we're visiting the Gullah Geechee corridor.
And that's why now I want to get to this right here. Not only have I gone up there to speak, been invited to speak in Dublin, but then also what happened, just to throw it out there to those in Tell That family who's looking at this show right now. And let me tell you what happened with Lil Jamal and Coach Chris and the OCMA Dream Team. Let me tell you about them. They come here, they come to the festival, they come, as you said, to the sugarcane harvest, they come to the gathering. And so I'm listening to these young people talk about the Mafa. I'm talking lean one, tall one, all talking about the Mafa. And I'm like saying, wait a minute, okay, hold up. Then I had to start telling them, y'all stole my stuff, y'all stole my stuff, y'all stealing my stuff. What they do, they get that information, as Coach Chris has said, like, bet you didn't know, they take it to another level. And that's why I was like so enthralled, so impressed, so in love. And that's why from Bride Jim, Bacole, Sister Pat Bacole, Bride Greg, everybody, Sister Nita, everybody, when we know the Dream Team is a part of Geechee Kunda, they're part of the family. When y'all talk Geechee Kunda, y'all gotta understand, Coach Chris and OCMA is part of us. Because one of the powerful things when he talked about what happened in Alabama, I still go back and think about some of the little ones, some of the little sisters spitting fire out of their mouth, their intellect. I'm like saying, yo, they're going to take this to another level. The intellect, they're not mentally crippled. They are mentally stellar. That, again, they're putting it out there. They're going to the stratosphere with regard to their information. And then one of the things that I posted it on Facebook long ago, when one of them got up and spoke at Geechee Kunda at the gathering and talked about how we can reclaim Black Wall Streets in our areas and also have generational wealth. He gave the formula for that. I'm standing out there, I'm like filming it like, yo, he literally gave the formula. I was like, does anybody understand what's going on right now? We got a young brother. And I was like, that's OCMA. That's the work of Coach Chris. That's them. I was gonna say, them Geechee Kunda family members right there. So I just had to put that out there saying I was stunned and I was jealous too. Cause I said they're taking my stuff to another level.
Well, we appreciate you for your inspiration. And you know what? I encourage anyone, if you haven't seen any of Jamal's documentaries, right? There's a lot to learn about ourselves. If you watch these documentaries, it is truly profound. There are lots out there, but in particular, Jamal has been on point and sharing information that is vital to inspire our young people to have a better self-image and to boost their self-esteem and to be unapologetic African Americans.
And so can you elaborate just a little bit about, again, that formula that was thrown at it? Because I want folks to understand this is the work that Coach Chris is doing, that he got young people getting these nuggets from other places, and they create a formula as to how we will no longer be impoverished, how we will have generational wealth. That was for me, out of all the gatherings that we have had, that was the most powerful, because here it is, I'm looking at a young brother saying he got the confidence and he got the information. Right. That was powerful.
It's more or less, to encourage our young people to get a good, rounded education, developing their unique God-given gifts. Develop your gifts and bring those gifts back to the community to help others, to partner with like-minded individuals, right? And provide, if you're coming back and you're providing resources to your community, then what you're doing is going to initiate support from someone else. If you are a doctor, you're going to need nurses. And the nurses are going to need uniforms, and the uniforms need to be clean. And, and then, all of these different services and goods, could be something that we, this is, we need someone to open a shop, right, to service these particular needs in our community. And we support those industries. And so we can provide jobs within our communities. And we can encourage others that says, well, you know what, there's not a dentist here. So, there you are, be a dentist, be a doctor, be a veterinarian, be a shop owner, be a laundromat owner, and develop these services in our community and hire people in your community. And so the dollar floats through those different services in your community, which in turn says, well, I need to build another building. Carpenters, bricklayers in your community will come and build your buildings. And then more hiring within your community, the dollar, in that exchange in our community, helps us to thrive. This is an old concept that we've learned in history from Black Wall Street, from our ancestral, communities where, everyone in the community helped out to the community, taught the community, it encouraged us, well, we need fishermen. Well, you teach them to fish, and they bring fish in, and the fishermen, you got to have someone to make the nets. Now you got net makers. Everyone contributes to the community to help it thrive.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And so since things are winding down with regard to time-wise, I don't have no issue with our producers, Crystal and also Julius Hall, which Coach Chris, because one thing you talk about pride, you talk about, because we got Dublin High, we got East Lawrence, West Lawrence, we got them. They make stuff happen right there. Like, yeah. And see what happened. Just like how you have a sense of pride, I have a sense of pride in my high school also. But Crystal and also Julius Hall, the producers, they have a little jealousy towards me. But I don't let that bother me because I'm inspired. I'm inspired because I know the truth. Herschel B. Jenkins High School. So Coach Chris, see how Crystal put up Bulldogs. Once again, I can't see nothing. I can't see nothing. I just want to know what inspires you and what inspires the OCMA Dream Team stars. What inspires you and what inspires them?
I think we would. I am very proud of the accomplishment that each of my kids that choose to follow these paths that we laid before them, right? That you are teaching them, then they take it on their own accord, and like you say, take it to another level. I'm not holding your hand anymore. They're going on their own accord, and then they do great things. Tay Ayuk is a superhero, in Dublin, and he inspires others. I love that. And so I would like for young people that's coming through this program, as small as it is, to inspire other young people to be to apply themselves to be exceptional.
Yes, indeed. Hold on a second. I got a call coming in. Oh, hello. Oh, it's God. Oh, Lord. Thank you. Yes, thank you. You're glad that Coach Chris is here and that middle of Georgia, the heart of Georgia is the best part of Georgia. Oh, yes. That's God wanted me to let you know that. And you say Herschel B. Jenkins High School, the best high school in Savannah, Chatham County, Georgia.
All right.
Lord. We know. So yes, sir. God said, keep doing what you're doing, Coach Chris. And he said, HBJ Warriors know that y'all guarantee a place in heaven. Beach High Bulldogs and also people from what? And you said Tompkins High School and Savannah High School that they might have to think about. They might stand outside of the pearly gates. Okay, Lord, thank you. Just letting y'all know that was God. God just called me. Just let you know. So, Coach Chris, God is thankful for you, and the ancestors are thankful for you and the work that you're doing.
Yes, sir.
But not only thankful for you and the work that you're doing, but also for the OCMA Dream Team. Those are people who are stars, and that again, as you said, they are living it and manifesting the teachings, and they're having a positive impact on our society.
Yes, sir.
That is a tremendous statement. tremendous statement about what you're doing and the testimony of those in the heart of Georgia, in Lawrence County, that again, I say I have mad love and mad respect for. We say continue doing, and any word that you want to share to give to the people to inspire them as we go on this sojourn and as this wonderful journey in life, the beautiful struggle, as some have called it, the beautiful struggle.
I would say for young people, for anyone in our community, regardless of who you are, it doesn't matter about nationality. You know, in order for us to do great in this community, everyone can give in some capacity, right? To assist in the uplift of citizens in this community. I say people go to the Gullah Geechee corridor. It is something that we have to take advantage of and explore, because there's lots there to learn that you can be appreciative of. Take your kids there. You know, go to Disney World, but you know what? Go a weekend to the Gullah Geechee corridor and learn something about yourselves. You'll thank me later, right? So with respect to that, I say peace and love.
Yes, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We are proud to have you, brother. Proud of the Dream Team. And so just to let you know this, Coach Chris, our producer, Julius Hall, again, has a little issue, but he's talking about Wolverines. Wolverines are akin to angels that have fell from heaven, or that were, excuse me, no, not fell from, they were kicked out of heaven. God kicked out Wolverines out of heaven. They're like the angels that kicked out of heaven. And if you want me to go and say, Bulldogs also were kicked out of heaven. Blue Jackets kicked out of heaven. Knights kicked out of heaven. Rebels kicked out of heaven. They all kicked out of heaven. I can guarantee if you're from Middle Georgia or you're from Herschel B. Jenkins High School, you are guaranteed a spot in heaven. That's what God said, and that's the final word on that. This is the final word on what we know is Run Tell That. Run Tell That. And again, Coach Chris, thank you for joining us. And again, always an honor to have you and the Dream Team. Can't wait. Get your Coon about to open back up. Get your Coon about to open back up, and we're going to be able to have the family again. Sugarcane harvest coming last Saturday in November. Bam, yes, we about to happen.
Yes, sir.
Bulldogs can come too. Y'all can come, even though y'all got kicked out of heaven. All y'all can come, and Wolverines, all y'all can come, because we show love to y'all, because we are the home. We are your family compound.
We're going to come down. We're going to have plenty to share. Plenty of good things. Right.
Yes, indeed. And again, Run Tell That. Share, share, share. And again, we'll see you next week, because it's June Explosion happening this month. June Explosion. We're going to have some more excitement on next week. Run Tell That. Peace and blessings.